Whisker Key's Adventures at Chester Cathedral, Easter Song. The cathedral was silent. It had been for many days. Only if you listened really hard, you could hear the gentle squeak of mice cleaning the windows. One of which was Whisker Key's, the brown mouse. He'd been helping his mother clean the creation window for many days now, and even though it made him very happy to help his mother, he was very sad that the cathedral was no longer full of song. "Mother," asked Whisker Keys, "why is the cathedral so quiet?" "Oh, my dear," she replied, "people have been told to stay at home for a little while." "But what's going to happen tomorrow?" he quizzed. "It's Easter Sunday. We can't have a silent cathedral on the most special day of the year." Whisker Key's mother stopped her cleaning. "You're right. I had not thought of that. What do you think we should do?" Pondered Whisker Keys for a good 5 minutes. "I think we should invite all the birds and all the animals from around the cathedral to come inside and sing. That way we can celebrate Jesus' resurrection." "Why, what a fantastic idea," said Whisker Key's mum. "Do you think we could invite everyone?" "Yes, I'd love to," shouted Whisker Keys, ever so excited. "Can I go and do that now?" "Yes, of course," said his mother. "Easter is tomorrow. You'd better get your skates on." Whisker Keys jumped off the window ledge and ran across the great empty nave and through a little hole at the bottom of the south door. He went straight into the garden and onto the wall where he knew Mr. Blackbird patrolled. He was a very smart, gentle bird with black feathers and yellow stockings. "Mr. Blackbird," called Whisker Keys, "I was wondering if you could help me. The cathedral has been silent for many days now, but we want to fill it with song for Easter Sunday. Can you put a choir together for me?" "What an excellent idea," said Mr. Blackbird. "I'll call on the wrens and the robins, the nightingales and the thrushes. Together we'll make the most heavenly sound." "Thank you so much, Mr. Blackbird," smiled Whisker Keys. "You're very welcome," said Mr. Blackbird, flying off to assemble his choir. Next, Whisker Keys went to the Roman walls, where he knew a family of rabbits lived. Sticking his head down the burrow, he called, "Mrs. Rabbit, I was wondering if you could help me. The cathedral has been silent for many days now, but we want to fill it with song for Easter Sunday. Can you come in the morning and be part of the congregation and sing along?" "Definitely," said Mrs. Rabbit, popping her head. "Can we bring anything?" "Oh, I'd not thought of that," replied Whisker Keys, giving his ears a good scratch. "What would you like to bring?" "How about some spring flowers, like daffodils and tulips?" suggested Mrs. Rabbit. Yes, you can decorate the altar with all the flowers." "Brilliant," said Mrs. Rabbit, grabbing a wicker basket. Next, Whisker Keys scampered up the trees to visit the squirrels. "Mr. Squirrel," shouted Whisker Keys through the green leaves, "I was wondering if you could help me. The cathedral has been silent for many days now, and we want to fill it with the song for Easter Sunday. Can you come in the morning and be part of the congregation and sing along?" "It would be a privilege," said Mr. Squirrel. "Oh, and the rabbits are bringing spring flowers to decorate the altar. You're welcome to bring something too," added Whisker Keys. "Daddy," said Silverbrush, who was the youngest of Mr. Squirrel's 5 children. "I would like to take a painted egg with me. Do you think Mrs. Hen has any eggshells left over?" "I'm sure she does," said Mr. Squirrel. "But where are you going to get the paint?" "We have paint at the cathedral," said Whisker Keys. "Follow me." Whisker Keys and Silverbrush both jumped off the tree, ran across the garden and into the cathedral by the south door. "I'll take you to the education room," called Whisker Keys as they dashed along the old stone corridors. "There's so much in there. Paint, glitter, sequins. You can take whatever you want." However, when they reached the door, they realised it was locked. "Don't worry," reassured Whisker Keys. "My mum has a key." About 10 minutes later, Whisker Keys' mother was there, dragging a big, heavy key behind her. "I've caught the spiders," she said. "They'll be able to open it for us." Just at that moment, Mr. Spider dropped down in front of Whisker Keys' face. "Hello there," he smiled with his many eyes. "I see we're in perfect time. Let me wrap some of my silk around that key for you." Quickly, Mr. Spider covered the key in silk. He then asked his brothers to grab the silk ropes and hoist them up. Very slowly, the key was lifted up into the keyhole. "Okay, Mr. Whisker Keys, we're ready for you now," called Mr. Spider. At his signal, Whisker Keys ran up the door frame and skipped onto the door handle. He then hung upside down and took the key, turning it in its lock. Then click, the door was opened. "Bravo! Bravo!" cheered the spiders. "Come on in, Silverbrush," invited Whisker Keys. "Take whatever you want." "Ooh!" squealed Silverbrush as she grabbed a small paintbrush and a palette. Frantically, she dashed from one cupboard to another, taking a few paints as well as some glitter. "Thank you," she smiled. "You're very welcome," beamed Whisker Keys. By the end of the day, Whisker Keys was very pleased with himself. He had invited the birds, the rabbits, the squirrels, the badgers, and even the butterflies and ladybirds to the cathedral for Easter Sunday. He jumped into bed and was about to go to sleep with a very big smile on his face when he had a terrible thought. "Oh no," he said out loud. "I don't have an organist. But it's too late to go and find one now." For everyone knows how dangerous it is for a little mouse to go into town at night. "I'll have to go out early in the morning," thought Whisker Keys. "And I know just who to ask." Early in the morning, just as the sunbeams started to glint through the cathedral windows, Whisker Keys got out of bed and ran across the street. There in the rubbish bin was Mr. Fox. "Mr. Fox," Whisker Keys asked, a little scared, "can I have a word with you?" "Oh, of course," said Mr. Fox, lifting his nose out of the bin. "You know, with all these people staying indoors, there's a lot less rubbish around. I'm going to have to change my diet. How can I help you?" Whisker Keys gave a big gulp. "The cathedral has been silent for many days now," he said, "but we want to fill it with song for Easter Sunday. Can you come and play the organ for us?" "Well, I think my legs are long enough," said the fox, stretching all fours. "I'll give my claws a quick file and I'll come and help." "Thank you so much," said Whisker Keys, running quickly back into the cathedral. Mr. Blackbird was already inside practising with his choir of robins, wrens, nightingales and thrushes when Whisker Keys arrived. Soon after, Mr. Fox appeared. It looked like he'd had a good wash. The choir and organist then practised together. The mice lit the candles, and as the church bells rang 10 o'clock, Whisker Keys, along with his mice cousins and some spiders, pulled the heavy south transept door open. No sooner were the doors open, where the animals and birds of all kinds flooded in. There were goldfinches and pigeons, badgers and moles, crows, starlings, hares and sparrows, and even a few stray cats. The word had definitely got around that the cathedral was open. The rabbits had come as promised, clutching their massive bouquets of spring flowers, full of purple and yellow, and just behind, Silverbrush the squirrel arrived with her painted Easter egg. It was the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. At the centre was a picture of Jesus, his arms open wide, and a bright sun behind him. The golden glitter Silverbrush had painted all over caught the sunlight and sparkled. "Wow, that's amazing," said Whisker Keys. Silverbrush blushed. For the next hour, the cathedral was full of the most beautiful singing. The warm, joyful tweets from the choir blended in with the excited crows and squeaks from the others. Halfway through the service, the rabbits, along with Silverbrush, took up their offerings of flowers and the Easter egg up to the altar. And at the end, Mr. Blackbird gave everyone a blessing. As the animals and birds bid farewell, they thanked Whisker Keys for all his hard work. "We must do this again," said Mr. Blackbird. "Singing in here is so very different from outside." "I agree," said Mrs. Rabbit, shaking Whisker Keys' paws. "All my little children loved it so much. It was the most glorious sound." "It was good," said Mr. Fox, "even if I do say so myself." He gave Whisker Keys a twinkling smile, showing off his white, pointy teeth. "I'm very happy to play the organ again for you." "Thank you, Mr. Fox," said Whisker Keys with an apprehensive smile. "Whisker Keys! Whisker Keys!" cried Silverbrush. "I want you to have this." There in Silverbrush's hand was the painted Easter egg. "I can't take this," said Whisker Keys. "You put it on the altar." "Oh, it's okay," replied Silverbrush. "I'm sure God won't mind. When I took it up there, I was thanking God for having you as such a great friend. You went to so much trouble to get the paint and glitter for me. I want you to have it." "Why, thank you," answered Whisker Keys as he carefully took it from Silverbrush's claws. "I'll treasure it." Silverbrush gave him an extra big smile and then ran after her dad, who was speaking to Mrs. Rabbit. "Well, my son," said Whisker Keys' mother, "you've done a great job today. The cathedral was full of song on Easter Day." "Yes," beamed Whisker Keys, "full of Easter song."